Hi, my name is Jörg, which is German for George, here at Find a Job in Germany, in the garden, not in Berlin today. The reason I went to the garden is that I want to talk about something that has to do with finding a job in Germany, but also with something that contains an important aspect of your salary, and that is your healthcare. Healthcare in Germany. How does it actually work? How is the system different to maybe what you are used to in your home country? And what do you need to know when it comes to finding a job in Germany? And then, in the event you get sick, you need to look out for. Here we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, because the healthcare system in Germany may be different from what you're used to, I'm going to talk about a couple of things that you need to know when it comes to securing an employment and, of course, then coming to Germany and knowing what to do and what not to do when you get sick. First of all, I want to maybe talk about what everybody may think, the deductions from your paycheck. And this is where healthcare comes in. Some of the people say there's a lot of deductions on a monthly basis when it comes to finding a job in Germany or getting your salary in Germany. And the reason for that is, yes, there is quite a bunch that gets deducted. What you need to know is that the German healthcare system really is universal. And that means it's a multi-payer system. Both you and your employer actually pay into the system. And that means on a monthly basis, and you're going to be able to see this in your paycheck, you will see how they already paid everything by deducting a certain amount from your salary and, of course, contributing to it. You and your employer are both, by a share of 50-50, paying into the Social Security system. And a part of that goes into your health care. The largest amount goes into pension funds. That is for when you retire, when you're old, etc. But the second largest amount goes into, that's right, healthcare. Now, what does that mean? It essentially means that there is mandatory health insurance. Everybody needs to be insured in Germany. And I would say, I don't know the numbers exactly, I think 80-85% of the people, really the vast majority, are insured in a public or statutorily required healthcare provider. And there are quite a few of those that only slightly differ when it comes to the, let's say, support that they provide, or when it comes to the programs that they fund, or when it comes to the treatments that they essentially give money for. They really do not deviate from one another that much. So it doesn't matter quite as much which one you're going for, but if you want to know my personal opinion, you want to go with one that is supposed to be known, or that is known for a good English-speaking service. And this is where we've seen AOK, BAMA, and TK, Techniker Krankenkasse, to make a pretty good impression so far with the coachees and the clients that we've worked with so far. But in any case, I wanted to get back to how it works. Again, your employer and you are both going to be paying into that fund. You don't have to take care of anything. That's the nice thing. Your employer already does it for you by paying your salary and, of course, your Social Security contributions. In the event you were also curious to know which other contributions get deducted from your salary, besides what I mentioned, and that is your pension and your health care, there's also accident insurance, and this is for the event that you have an accident on your way to work or you have an accident at work, God forbid. Let's hope that doesn't happen, but that's also what a smaller portion is for. And then there is unemployment insurance. And this is in the event that you get unemployed, you are able to claim that as a, let's say, benefit, so to speak, from the unemployment agency after, I believe, but please do not quote me, I'm just saying this from the top of my head, I think you need to have paid into the system for a total of 24 months in order to then get your funds out of unemployment, out of the unemployment fund. But we're here to talk about healthcare, and the healthcare system, again, works in a way that when you get your visa for Germany, you already sign up for one of those statutory providers, gesetzlich. That's the ones that I mentioned, which do not really deviate from one another, but there's like 85 or 100 or 150. There used to be a lot more, which pretty much cover all the same. But there again, English-speaking service really is going to be important for you. There are, of course, also private healthcare providers. And I say from experience, they do make sense after you have made a certain amount of money. Usually we're talking about 90K, 100K, 110K, but this is just a very rough figure for you to know how this is different. Private healthcare, of course, comes with certain benefits. There are certain private doctors or doctors that only run their practice based on private clients. You're able to get an appointment earlier. You're able to usually get better service. That is chief doctors or chief medical officers, let's say treatment at the hospital. But those are also private, let's say, services that you can also acquire when you're in statutory healthcare. So you can always top up, so to speak. You are not just stuck with any kind of basic statutory system. Now, I didn't really want to talk about private as much because it really is not going to apply to you when you come here, most likely. Except for the fact that you, of course, only go with private, and there's no way that you're not going to do private and that you're not going to do public, but really don't worry about it for now. That works in a different way, similar to what you may be used to. You essentially have to pay the bill, and then you get reimbursed for the amount that you pay, depending on the treatment, depending on whether or not it's covered by them. And yeah, maybe at the dentist that's going to make it different depending on the kind of replacement for a tooth they provide you with or something like that. But let's get back to public healthcare, which again, 80 to 85% of all the people are in. I want to make sure that you understand the scope of the coverage. It's really, I would say, covering essentially everything. And this is where I'm coming in with a very personal story of mine. And also for everybody who's kind of complaining about the contributions or saying, oh, in Germany there are so many contributions when it comes to healthcare, etc. Well, it's really supposed to be a system that covers you, that protects you, that lifts you up when you're really down low. And I can say with all honesty, this is something that happened to my sister. My sister was diagnosed with cancer, and this was now 2 years ago. Gladly, everything is okay. She's doing very well now after treatment. And the way they work here, of course, is that they give you this sandwich therapy. There's going to be chemo, surgery, and then chemo again. And, well, she got the full treatment. She was transported from her house to the treatment for the surgery, of course, and then she stayed at the hospital for several days. And yeah, long story short, everything was really working well in sync, I must say, with all the different doctors, the oncologist, the surgeon, all the people that she essentially was in touch with throughout the process. It was a process of entire 12 months, I would say. Here's the thing. In Germany, you don't pay a single euro for that. That's what that is about. It really is supposed to cover you when the road gets rocky and when it looks really bad. And that's the good news, really. You don't have to pay anything up front. It's covered. Naturally, you have to be on the lookout. You need to be, do your own. You need to take care of your body. You also should go into any kind of preventive or, let's say, prophylactic treatments. You can get those at the doctor as well. That means if you need any kind of skin cancer screening, for example, you want to do that already, which is also covered, by the way. So it's all for free again, right? And I really would like you to understand that this is the system that society here has come up with. And yes, I understand this is where, again, there's a big deduction from your paycheck, but try to understand on what the purpose of that is, really. The purpose, again, is that it's supposed to really cover you fully in the event that you hit rock bottom, essentially, right? And of course, for us at the family, it was a really, really disturbing event when the diagnosis came out, and it was colon cancer, and they had already diagnosed. They had found that this was, of course, not advanced to the stage yet where they couldn't do anything. Anyway, treatment was really good, and this is not to brag. This is not to say, oh, come to Germany, it's the greatest country, health goes for free, etc. No, I think you should understand on why it's supposed to be like that and what it means for you. Coming back to that kind of scope of coverage, essentially there are hardly any treatments where you don't have to pay anything up front. I want to go back to my example with the dentist. Sometimes you'll have such a dental issue that the dentist will tell you this can only be solved with a filling of that kind of quality. And then he'll say, well, there's also better qualities. You can get this kind, that kind. This is that kind of surgery, that kind of treatment. And this is where you can top up. Again, privately. You can always still do that. But there's this basic catalog of services, of treatments that will always be provided for. That's the general idea behind it. Let's talk about you coming with family. And this is also maybe something important to know. If you are coming to Germany with your wife, with your husband, with your kid, or with your kids, the good news is really that whether or not they are employed doesn't matter. They're all covered under your healthcare program, statutory or private. And okay, let's go back to statutory. That means, of course, if you're coming with a wife and she has to do her checkup, it's also going to be covered. There's not going to be any extra deductions. Same with your kids. If your kids need to go to the doctor, of course, there's no extra payments. Again, what can happen is that there is a small amount that you need to pay extra, simply because it's not part of the catalog that your statutory healthcare provider is covering. You may end up having to pay 10 or 15 or 20 bucks more. That really depends. But your doctor is always going to be filling you in about that. He's always going to let you know what extra it may cost. But again, in principle, you shouldn't have to pay for any treatment. So that's really the good news. And most of the treatments are really covered. I don't want to go into detail here on what is not covered, but you're going to find that this is really how the system works. And again, it's because everybody pays into it. And yes, there is people that say it's a good system because it's high quality medical care. It's supposed to really treat you well in case the road gets rocky. See my sister. And then there are those that will say, well, I think the way it works in other countries is better. This is also not for me to judge. This is not a video where I'm marketing for Germany because of its healthcare system. I just want to inform you, as always, on how it works and what that means for you. And you can make up your mind. But coming back to your family, I think it's a really nice thing to know that whenever your kids get sick, whenever your wife or your husband gets sick, they are covered by your plan already, which comes with your employment. It's always going to be directly connected with your employment. And this is what I wanted to mention in this regard. Another thing that you want to know, of course, is getting the doctor that will treat you right. Am I going to find a doctor that speaks English? Are they only German speakers? Well, it really shouldn't be an issue for you to find a doctor that speaks English. They're academics, but really try to see whether there's somebody that can refer you to their doctor. That should really make it easier for you from work, for example. You have a nice colleague that you can get in touch with and say, hey, can you refer your dentist? Would you recommend him or her? I would really like to, get my teeth checked out or something. This is how I would do it. And naturally, they are also going to be able to help you with the question whether or not they speak English. That shouldn't be a problem. In the rural areas, usually it shouldn't be a problem either, but some, of course, are better English speakers than others. And in any case, there is, translation programs with your smartphone that really work well like that. I've seen quite a few coaches maneuver and navigate their way through Germany with any kind of service provider when it comes to that phone of theirs, where they're just having the smartphone translate for them on their behalf. So I think this gave you a rather, let's say, comprehensive overview for today for the healthcare system on what it's really like, what it's supposed to be. And if you're interested in knowing more and also about the salary aspect and the deductions and what it looks like on your paycheck, which is where you can actually see about the amount that is being deducted from your salary, there is also going to be a blog article that you find on our website, www.findajobingermany.de, and in that blog article, there is a really very much even more detailed overview of the expenses and what really healthcare means on a monthly basis. But so far, so good. I think this is enough info for now. If you want to know more about this, also, we're going to feature more videos on Social Security in Germany in general. We know for a fact that also the ladies over at Simple Germany, who you might want to subscribe to, also have a pretty good channel in that regard. I thank you very much for your kind attention, and in this regard, thank you for watching. Feel free to subscribe to this channel, of course, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.